This one's my superpower would have to be optimism glittered.
I love it. I'm wondering, and particularly within the different regions, because we've got sort of 3 regions or countries sort of represented here. What are common myths about the cloud that you guys come across, and how would you debunk them to customers or to individuals that you're chatting to?
Yeah, I mean, again, it's a really timely question because the adoption of cloud is now being driven into the home through Netflix and Spotify and all these types of services, which people are just accepting. I've got an Alexa or a Google Home or whatever it is, and I just say, "Hey Google, play the music," and that happens because I've got a Google service, because I've got Spotify, and it just plays my music, and it's really.
So do you think the familiarity is making people feel more comfortable?
I think in the general population it is. So then it really, how many times can I say really, annoys me when professionals say to customers, the cloud is fine, but it's not for now. Not for now. Come back in 5 years' time, and the cloud will be okay for you. But in the meantime, please. Buy a new server, and please buy some.
And you still think that's still a challenge within our industry?
I think it is, and the answer to anybody who's listening to this is not that you're not needed, and it's not that you can't support your customers and deliver value-added and chargeable services. But please stop selling them things they don't need.
They don't need an email server.
They don't need an email server. They don't need a file server. They don't need it backed and remote access systems. Guys, there's more value you can deliver to your customers by delivering things that make a difference.
Okay. Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you there, and it's something we would have seen in the early days, but I don't think it's really gone away.
No,
I think it's still there. You were saying Google sometimes sort of is its own worst enemy in one sense because of some of the negativity around other.
Yeah, both the security around their consumer products like the Android environment, and then at the same time with the ad business, which basically has been driving
everything else,
Google funding for so many years, and people react on the fact that they are collecting so much data. So
I think the data thing is a challenge. You know what I mean? Like that. Yeah. That's something people are concerned about, and so you've got on one side, from a consumer point of view, Google is in the news sometimes for negativity. The shuttering of products like Hire recently, and other services. And Google Plus, stuff like that. There's a whole security thing, and then it got shut down, and that negatively impacts us, all of us in our businesses when we're trying to promote Google's products. And somebody says, well, why should I get that? Because Google might turn it off tomorrow, or those kind of questions. So I think you're sort of battling that sometimes.
Yeah, and like I said, Google is in quite a special position compared to the other 2 large cloud vendors, because they don't have the same total, the personal solutions that people are having in their homes. Obviously, Amazon has run into some of the same things.
Microsoft to a lesser extent, they're more an enterprise and they have some consumer stuff.
But trust is really important in this whole world of cloud services. I trust Amazon that when we go on and buy stuff, that my information is being dealt with fairly, and if I felt that they were misusing that, then would I continue to buy through Amazon? And the same with Google and the other people. Trust is really important. You can add Facebook and Twitter and all the rest of them into this. If you lose the trust of the customers, then they now have a choice and they can go off other ways. So I think that provided customers and trust is at the heart of what everybody's doing, whether it's what we do or what our partners do, then I think you build on that as a really strong case.
Definitely. In terms of, and I think this is an interesting question, just thinking about, the fact that you've been in the industry for 10 years in Google's industry, you've joined quite recently in the last couple of years. What sort of advice would you guys give to someone who's kind of joining the industry now? So you had some, sort of new upstart kind of thinking about getting into cloud and Google. What would be your words of wisdom to them?
That's probably what I should have gotten.
What did Ian tell you when you came in?
No, I mean, I think that from a new sort of Google partner coming in, I think that you just have to build those relationships with the Google teams. I think you have to network with sort of other partners. Certainly, recurring revenues are important, and I think partner sort of. So the whole thing about Google's all about sharing and realizing that actually. To start with, you can't cover every possible base. You haven't got all the experiences. So therefore, partner with people who've got that experience. And I think there's a really good sort of camaraderie amongst Google partners where we're prepared to help each other. So it's not, sorry Todd, I'm not going to tell you everything I've learned for the last 10 years.
No, got to keep some stuff.
Maybe some of it. But I think the ones that I see being more successful are the ones who share into the community. And the more you share, I believe the more you get back. So build that network. I think that would be something.
I think that's an interesting point you make, and you've probably experienced, like I know we've talked about partnering on things and helping each other out.
And it's basically what we have been doing also before we entered the Google Cloud space. So and I completely agree with Ian here. It's very important, and we. Maybe you're not supposed to actually cover everything in the future either.
No. You don't necessarily have to be a jack of all trades. You can have a particular area you focus on.
These partnerships, they bring business both ways, as you said, and you build the competence, and the community actually in the Google Cloud area has been so far for these 2+ years. It's been great. So we're really lucky that we have already established a lot of connections around in the partner area. So both with Google, obviously, but also external partners like with Finland here and others.
We were only on a video call last week. Transformation labs and whatnot. And those connections and introductions, that's something I'm trying to help with more. Like I did an introduction for yourself to some trainers in the UK. A shout out to Lauren and Jordan from CloudShed, who are excellent Google trainers if you're looking for one. And I think that's part of, as you said, Ian, that camaraderie that I'm not saying it doesn't exist in other industries, but I certainly, having come from Microsoft background, I didn't notice it as much. Do you know what I mean? There was a more of a feeling, and maybe that's because the ecosystem's so big, with Microsoft. But we definitely found that there was more sort of like, oh, they're my customers. I couldn't possibly partner with someone; they might try and steal.
But I think if you build a strong network and you've got trust at our level, then we know that you're not going to come sort of into the UK and start to mess with my customers. I'm not going to deal with yours. But when Google bring out new products like Google Voice, and then we've got customers coming to us and saying, hey, I like this Google Voice, I'd like to understand how we can do it. Because we're the sort of organizations who sign up for these things early in their life cycle, then we can share that experience and knowledge, which benefits our customers and moves the whole thing forward.
First problem.
At least it wasn't